Thank you, Mr. Chair. I've been spending a lot of time in this room the last few days serving on the Budget Conference Committee, so it's kind of a trip to be on this side of the table. So I want to provide my perspective on one particular budget item. Today I'm addressing what I see as an independent entity that's sort of glommed onto the state budget like a barnacle, and it is currently costing taxpayers $278 million a year. When some of us are trying to provide cost transparency on drug prices, or we're trying to cut healthcare costs, or whatever it may be, we're finding that this item alone is costing taxpayers $7 per person in this state per year. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about Proposition 71, which was before the voters in 2004, and it was approved by the voters, resulting from an extensive and very emotionally driven campaign, very hard-tugging, by advocates that promised cures for paralysis, Parkinson's, and other major diseases. In one ad, Michael J. Fox said, "Vote yes on 71 and save the life of someone you love." Another ad featured an advocate saying, "There are more Americans than I think we can count who are sick now or are going to be sick in the future whose lives will be saved by Prop 71. In fact, in the middle of the campaign, the actor Christopher Reeves passed away and added to the fun, emotional heart-tugging of the whole effort. 13 years later, these cures are nowhere to be found. Neither are the proceeds from intellectual property the advocates promised would be there. CIRM, the California Institute of Regenerative Medicine, has spent $22,000 an hour since its inception. 90% of the money has gone to organizations who are represented on its governing board. This includes even the University of Stanford, which has received 15% of the money and has used it to build new buildings and labs on campus. The top 10 recipients of CIRM funding all have ties to the governing board. Is this an efficient and effective stem cell research agency? Even compared to the National Institutes of Health, which is a division of HHS, the Health and Human Services for the federal government, the answer is no. NIH spent $13 billion on stem cell research, 6 times CRM's total combined budget, but it has funded more than 20 times as many clinical trials. NIH has funded 50 phase 3 clinical trials, and CI or CIRM only 3. They may have funded 29 clinical trials, but that's about $70 million a trial. California has critical funding needs, which we're certainly discussing in the Budget Conference Committee, but California is spending a fortune on CIRM. The debt service payments to date are provided as a handout by our sergeant. They've already spent almost $1.3 billion, and we have $1.5 billion on the horizon. State Constitutional Amendment 7 requires voter approval, and since voters have not gotten what they voted for in 2004, shouldn't we give them the opportunity to halt more funding? A review of the books will find above market salaries and benefits for management. CIRM has borrowed $2.05 billion to date, and the state has paid $858 million in principal and $418 million in interest. This was identified in 2004 as an unaccountable boondoggle when it was on the ballot. It has proven to be a boondoggle. Even at the time in 2004, the University of Wisconsin had almost all of the patents when Prop 71 was approved. It is leaving the taxpayers with a debt and $278 million annual principal payments for the next 3 years. So I've written SCA 7 colleagues to stop this tragic poster child for proposition abuse. We must stop the issuance of the last $1 billion in debt. So I respectfully request an aye vote on SCA 7. Thank you.